Passing out popcorn. You got a good question, you get popcorn. Shake his mind.
What's your frame of mind now about the contract?
Respectfully, I'm really done talking about it. I told you guys before, I was going to be done with it. Week one's over with. We're done talking about it, I'm focused on the Dolphins now.
That's Lamar Jackson, the Ravens quarterback. The Ravens were the ones who issued the statement pulling the plug on the talks last Friday. There's no reason to think that anything is going to continue. As long as Lamar Jackson represents himself, there's no occasion to work through any of the issues. The only thing that would change it at this point is if Lamar Jackson wakes up one morning and says, maybe I should take the offer that the Ravens had on the table. We heard some things over the weekend about some of the contours of the offer. Not enough to fully evaluate it, but he could wake up one day and say, I'll take it, and the Ravens would presumably give it to him as long as it isn't the day after he tears an ACL. That would probably cause the offer to no longer be on the table. So there's nothing to talk about. He's not talking about it because there's nothing to talk about at this point. Yeah. Everybody moves forward with football season, and we figure it all out in February or March, or maybe, just maybe in January.
Yeah, that's right. He's focused. They're a focused football team. I never doubt that. Harbaugh's another one of those guys where you can put in the class, like we just talked about Shanahan on the last segment. Great communicator. Players always seem to know where they stand within the organization. There never seems to be BS. Lamar has a great way about him when he gets in front of the microphone there. I do appreciate that about him. And he doesn't shy away from it. He's not a jerk or mean or anything like that. Just coming in with the popcorn and the shake was funny. And, yeah, it's over. And he's not trying to be a jerk about it. He's worried about football. And they got a big one this week. Home opener for them against the damn Dolphins who, embarrassed them last year on a Thursday night football game. So we know the Ravens, they're chippy as hell just on a normal day in the middle of May, let alone when a team embarrassed them physically and schematically a little bit. They're going to be pissed off and ready to go here in this one.
Yeah, they got after Lamar Jackson with that very aggressive and creative defense. 22-10 was the Week 10 Thursday night outcome last year, and it sparked a late-season turnaround by the Dolphins under then-coach Brian Flores. Here's John Harbaugh, coach of the Ravens, and Lamar Jackson on being ready for Miami to do it again in Week 2.
Well, we'd have been negligent if we hadn't worked on it. It's something we need to get a lot better at, and we studied the whole offseason, and we'll have a plan for it, and, hope it works, because these guys are probably the best in the league at doing it right now. They do it more than anybody. They do it better than anybody, and it's just something they're committed to. I have all the respect in the world for what they're doing defensively.
They just, caught us off guard, really. We haven't really went over defenses doing all up zero against us, like just all up, flat out zero. But I feel we have an answer for it this year. We watched film, watched a lot of film of those guys because we don't want it to happen again.
And the zero blitz means everybody at the line of scrimmage except a guy deep, and also receivers on the outside being covered. But it's basically an 8-man rush, and everybody's coming.
Right.
And that's what they did. Man on everyone else, but they just teed off. And it confused Lamar Jackson, and he couldn't make a decision on what to do before the walls closed in on him.
No, exactly right. It's a brilliant thing that Brian Flores and defensive coordinator that's still there, Josh. Look at this look right here. Look at that. It's unreal. And, this game, what happened, too, was the Dolphins, of course, had great success, but it teed it off for other teams to start kind of doing it to Baltimore throughout the year, where we saw teams kind of dabble in it every game and go, I don't know if I think their plan is foolproof there. So I would imagine they got something for that here. Definitely. That defense is, admired throughout football to where I think everybody was looking at not only to get answers to how to stop it, but going like, wait, we should implement this in our playbook on defense. This is something damn good here. So I would expect something. I would feel a lot better about it for Baltimore if their run game and their O-line was healthy. That's where it's a little scary, but at the same time, I do think they'll have a plan for it. And here's just a little interesting nugget even about last week, right, Mike? The Patriots, there was a few times in the game where the Dolphins got up into this alignment early on where you went, oh, here it comes. And what's great about it is that it's not everybody always comes, right? Like you talked about, 8 guys at the line of scrimmage. Every now and then it's, whoa, wait, it was only 4 guys that came, but 4 guys dropped out, and we had a quick pass on because we thought it was the all-out blitz, and oh, no, now there's 4 guys underneath here, and we can't throw the quick pass. So they're very good at that. But last week, they got in that alignment, and the Patriots got in a formation to go, and you could tell they checked, and he moved the back right in between the guard and the center, right, to pick up that guy. And Miami was smart to go, wait, this is Bill Belichick and company. For us to think he doesn't have a plan for this right here in week 1 when he's at all offseason. So they checked out of it. They have checks for it. And I think that's going to be an interesting chess match to watch here as we go, definitely. But these are 2 good defenses, 2 teams that are very talented. And, it'll be interesting to see what they got. I like how they're saying we got answers for it, too. That'll probably scare Miami just a little bit from doing it too much as well.
Well, I still think they're going to want to see what the answers are.
That's right. You're right about that.
And it's kind of like zone blitz meets 85 Bears defense.
yeah.
In my mind,
yeah,
right?
I hear you. Yeah.
Where you've got all these guys and they're all ready to come at you, and you don't know who's coming until the ball is snapped, and some of those guys are going to slip into coverage. So maybe they are in the passing lane for the quick pass that Lamar Jackson is going to throw and intercept him.
Right.
So what do you do? What did you see the Patriots do? What do? You talked about getting them out of that formation, by moving your guys around, maybe spreading them out a little bit more. But what can, as a practical matter, the Ravens do to deal with this, to either keep them from doing it or to respond to it when they actually do it?
Well, you can be in some formations where they have good tight ends, right? 2-3 tight ends on the field will scare, I think, them from doing it a little bit. Because what happens when you blitz like that, it's hard to stay in your lanes if they do call a run play and they're in some run formation. So that would be the first thing where I go, that traditionally scares defensive coordinators because they go, wait, I got 4 guys here in between the right guard and the right tackle, and if they just block down, all of a sudden we got like 7 guys stuck in between the tackle box and we can't get out on the edge in the running game. I would think you see some sets like that where, they just go, oh, you want to get up in there? We're just going to smash you in there. We're in a bunch set with the receivers, block everybody down, and there goes Lamar Jackson around the edge, or the running game around the edge. The other thing, too, is you can get in some of those, 1-2 tight end sets with 2 receivers or whatever, and have, max protection plays called where, hey, we got 7 guys in the block here, 8 guys in the block. So just hang in there, and, you should be able to throw to your one guy working against the one guy downfield. Wide receiver screens are another huge thing you can do, right? Everybody's up, and they're in between the tackle box and the right there in the middle, and you throw a wide receiver screen out there, and all of a sudden now you got Mark Andrews and another receiver going out there to block. And if the receiver makes one guy miss, it's, watch out. It's off to the races because everybody was stuck inside the tackle box, right? So, that's something that you can combat, that defense with. It'll be interesting to see what they do. But the Miami defense not only really creatively coached, it's got incredible talent too. And that's when it gets scary for a team facing them.
Well, the Ravens knew the moment the regular season ended, they'd see the Dolphins again this year, and they knew as of May that it would be week 2. So my guess is John Harbaugh has ensured that they have a plan in place that will guard against that outcome. By the way, Tua Tagovailoa is now 7-1 against Super Bowl winning coaches. He's 4-0 against Bill Belichick.
That's what I was going to say. Right.
Otherwise, 3-1. That's still impressive. And if he beats Harbaugh, it goes to, again, beats Harbaugh, it goes to 8-1, which, and wins aren't a quarterback stat, some would say. I still think that great quarterbacks influence victory more than others. I don't know that Tua influenced the victories that the Dolphins have enjoyed over the 7 Super Bowl winning coaches he's beaten. I don't know that we put it on him.
No, I know. That's where I hate those kind of stats. I mean, it's cool to hear, but to your point, it's like, what? He got the credit for beating the Raiders in that game, even though they had to bring in Ryan Fitzpatrick to win the game at the end because he could run the offense. That's one of the wins. Whoa, I mean, good. Thank God they had Tua in that one. So that's where I just, that stuff sometimes doesn't mean jack diddly squat.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.